all. So again, we are here for the discussion about displacement measurement. We have started our discussion with the first type of displacement transducer. That was the pneumatic version, in which we are expecting that the movement of flapper and nozzle gives you the idea about amount of input displacement. After that, we have started our discussion with this electrical version, in which we have seen the resistive transducer. There was the transducer in which whenever the resistance changes due to the change in displacement, you are somehow correlating that change in resistance in displacement. And lastly, we have seen the inductive transducer. This is the, I think, probably the last PPT which I was discussing in the last class. So here what this characteristic indicates, that whenever the core, which is placed in the vicinity of the primary and secondary winding, displaces either on the right side or on the left side, that you are expecting that the output also linearly changes with that. Now this red color indicates the ideal characteristic, but practically what you are getting is this. Instead of starting from zero value or from the null position, the characteristic starts from the non-null position, or that is a non-zero position. Here what you are getting is in the balance condition or in the null condition, even if both the outputs are in the series opposition, so you're expecting that your output should remain zero. But in the null state, you are getting non-null output. This is just like the offset in case of op-amp. This offset says that even if you are expecting your output should remain zero, you are getting some non-zero value. So this non-zero voltage, in this case, it is due to some effect which is called residual magnetism. So that's why this voltage is called residual voltage. Another thing which you can notice here is after crossing this particular limit on both the sides, instead of increasing linearly, the output drastically falls. This is due to the fact that once the LVDT crosses the limit, or once the LVDT core is out from the effect of secondaries and primary, then instead of getting the increasing output, the output starts to fall. So it is like this. If this is your LVDT, and suppose this is your core, then suppose by the movement, suppose if the core reaches at this position, or it may reaches to this particular position, these are the two values which are generally outside, these are the two values, these are the two positions which shows that the LVDT is outside the influence of primaries and secondary. So instead of getting the increasing output, the output starts to fall. This says that the normal range for which LVDT is mostly used, it is say in terms of micrometer or in terms of millimeter. So the range is plus or minus 10 micrometer to plus or minus 10 mm. So it's a smaller range for which LVDT can be used. Now if we look at the characteristic of LVDT, there are certain things which we need to consider while we use the LVDT in our application. So in between, I just inform that all of you, please put your enrollment number in the chat section. So at the end, I can take the attendance. Bhavesh Nakum.
Yes, sir.
આના વિશે કઈ ખબર છે? What is excitation frequency in case of LVDT?
સર જે એલવીડીટી ની જે પ્રાઇમરી વાઇડિંગ ને સેકન્ડરી વાઇડિંગ હોય એને જે સ્ટાર્ટ થવામાં જેટલી ફ્રીક્વન્સી આપવામાં આવે.
યસ, આપણે કરી લીધું છે કે ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ છે? આ ડિસ્કશન થઈ ગયું છે કે ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ છે?
ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ છે સર.
ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ છે ને? ઓકે. So what this particular thing indicates, as Bhavesh has rightly pointed, it is the frequency with which you are exciting your primary winding. Okay, so if this is your primary, then on the primary side you are giving some excitation. Clear? So excitation, that is several volts. Ideally you are giving say 1 to 10 volt, and frequency is somewhere in the range of kilohertz. So that is your input excitation. Now what it says that what should be the excitation frequency ideally? We have seen in our discussion that it can be range up to say 10 kilohertz, 10 to 20 kilohertz. This is the normal range for which, or that is the frequency which is acceptable in case of LVDT. But what is the ideal condition for this? The condition says that the excitation frequency has to be, so if I'll do something like this, excitation frequency, I'll write Fe should be 10 times Fc. This is very, very important. Or we can say that ratio of Fc to Fe is equal to 1 by 10. Both are same. Now what is Fc? Fc is the maximum core movement frequency, and Fe is the excitation frequency. So excitation frequency always must be greater than at least 10 times. So suppose if you are hoping that your core frequency, say it remains say in the range of 100 hertz, clear, maximum core frequency which you are expecting is say 100 hertz, then Fe has to be 1 kilohertz. It's like this. This is very, very important. This is one of the things which you have to consider while using LVDT in your application. Second thing is residual voltage. Residual voltage has to be lesser than 1% of full scale deflection. Clear? If your full scale deflection is 10 volt, then your this FSD should be lesser than 0.1 volt. That is the condition. The residual voltage means whenever you see the characteristic, means in the null position, the voltage should not be greater than 0.1 volt. It has to be lesser than 0.1 volt. That is the second condition. Third thing which you have to consider while using LVDT in your application is the type of signal conditioning circuit. Clear? That is very, very important. Now if you see this LVDT output, see how it looks like. Suppose if these are the two cases, this is a case 1, this is a case 2. The case 1 says that whenever the core movement is like this, જ્યારે core ની movement આ રીતે હોય, at that time see the type of output which you are getting, like this, and see this part. This is a dark color. This dark color indicates that there is another thing which is also present in this. This dark color indicates that it has another waveform. We will discuss this in detail. Just remember this, what this particular thing says. Second, whenever the core movement is like this, So this says that positive transition from positive to positive. This says transition from negative to positive. Suppose if this is the transition, then also see the type of output which you are getting. In both the cases, first thing is whether the transition is from positive to positive or from negative to positive. The LVDT output in both the cases remains same. That is the first problem with which the signal conditioning circuit has to deal. The first problem is whether your transition is from positive to positive or from negative to positive. The output of LVDT in both the cases remains same. It means even though the input movements are different, your output is same. So the first question arises how to distinguish or how to differentiate between the two movements. Movement આવી છે કે movement આવી છે કઈ રીતે distinguish કરો? That is the first problem. Second problem is અહીંયા મેં તમને કીધું એમ, this dark portion indicates that it has two information or it has two things. This is the first thing that is of our interest. આ આપણે જોઈએ છે. And this is a second thing or second waveform which is none of our use. આ આપણે જરૂર નથી આ part. So second problem is, in addition to the information, you are getting some extraneous signal. Clear? This is some extra signal. So second thing is you have to distinguish between your information and extra signal. Clear? There are two problems. So in order to understand or in order to clear these two problems, first we have to understand what this particular waveform looks like or what this particular information says. આપણે એમ કીધું આની અંદર બીજી એક ઇન્ફોર્મેશન છે, આની અંદર પોતાની આપણી જે એકચ્યુઅલ ઇન્ફોર્મેશન છે એ પણ છે. So what this particular output looks like. So in order to understand this, we have to understand one particular term which is generally used in case of describing the type of output which we are getting from LVDT. This type of output is generally known as clear? Is it visible? What is it? What it is? It is an amplitude modulated output. So before understanding this amplitude modulated output, can anyone tell me what does this amplitude modulation mean? Yes, કોઈ સાંભળ્યું છે ક્યારે amplitude modulation? આવો શબ્દ ક્યારે સાંભળ્યો છે?
બે ફ્રીક્વન્સી ને કમ્બાઈન કરવાની હોય ત્યારે આ એમ્પ્લિટ્યુડ મોડ્યુલેશન કરવામાં આવે.
Okay, good. બીજા કોઈ બે frequency ને combine, that is what his answer is.
So the modulation of a wave by varying its amplitude.
કોણ છે? Yes, બોલો સાચો છે રજત. Yes.
The modulation of a wave by varying its amplitude.
Okay, very correct. What is the need of modulation? Can you highlight little bit about this? Why we need modulation?
So because like some of the modulation we can't hear, especially a mean of broadcasting an audio signal by combining it with a radio carrier wave.
Yes, absolutely correct. What he wants. Okay. What he wants to say is, yes, you can mute your, Rajat. Okay. What he wants to say is, while you are transmitting, say, some signal to a longer distance, at that time the signal strength is not that much higher. So, for example, if you take the example, for example, if you are, say, speaking something, clear, then first thing is your speech signal or audio signal generally diminish after, say, several meters. If you use a microphone and amplifier, then it may happen that depending upon the capacity of the speaker and my amplifier, that audio signal may go to several hundreds of meter, for example. But ultimately, after that, the signal may die. But here we are talking that we want to transmit that signal even without changing any property of the signal. Means ultimately, if you consider the case of these audio amplifiers, the signal amplitude decreases as it goes away from the source of the generation. But in case of the transmission, we want that whatever amplitude is there on the source side, it has to be transmitted with the same nature without losing any information. So in order to do this, earlier you must have heard about AM and FM. Amplitude modulation is a short form of AM, and FM, that is what we nowadays we are having in most of our radio station. That is called
Frequency modulation.
Yes, that is called frequency modulation. So that is the major difference. Just a minute. So that is called frequency modulation. Now, as one of you has rightly mentioned, the amplitude of carrier varies with respect to the amplitude of carrier. That is called amplitude modulation. So the output of this LVDT is just like the amplitude modulated wave. Clear? So first we have to see how the amplitude modulated wave looks like. So I'll take one of the example here, so it becomes easier for you to understand. Suppose this is your modulating signal. This is called information or the modulating signal. Now second, we will take a carrier signal. Now as I have mentioned that if the signal strength is not sufficient to travel to a longer distance, what will you do? Here what we will do is we will put our information on a signal which has a higher strength, and then we are transmitting both the signals. At the receiving end, what we will do is we will again differentiate the carrier signal and our information. Carrier is the signal which just carries your signal or the information from source to destination. It is just like a courier. A courier agent or a courier service person takes your say parcel from one place to another. તમારે અહીંથી બોમ્બે કોઈ પાર્સલ મોકલવું છે, just you have to give that parcel to the courier facility. That courier person takes the parcel જાતે તો જઈ નહીં શકે. So what you are doing is you are giving it to the courier person. The person will carry that courier through some transportation medium and ultimately it reaches to the destination. At the destination, again the courier person just has to deliver that parcel to the destination, and then the role of courier will finish. Just like this, the carrier has to carry the information from the source to destination. So it just has to carry the information. At the destination, the role of carrier will finish. So here, the carrier which we are selecting, it is a high frequency signal. It is like this. આના કરતા પણ વધારે હશે, but for just understanding, fixed frequency હોય. And whenever you mix these two signal, as one of you has pointed that mixing the two signal. So whenever you mix these two signal, at that time, whatever output or whatever result becomes, that result is called amplitude modulated wave. So that is what I am going to show here. So what it contains is, it contains your information. It is like તમારી જે information ઉપરનું waveform છે એ જ છે, but generally it is like this. Clear? So here what you can see is this is your modulating signal, this is your carrier signal, and this is called modulated signal or amplitude modulated signal. So here you can see the carrier of the the amplitude of the carrier varies as the amplitude of your modulating signal changes. આનું modulating signal નું amplitude જેવી રીતે બદલાય છે એવી રીતે carrier signal નું amplitude બદલાય, and if you join them then it will look like this. Clear? So this is the combination of two things. One is a carrier and second is a information. This is called information or your modulating signal, and this is called carrier. Clear? Now see this particular signal. Now come back to this LVDT. So again, from here you can see it has got two things. This particular thing, this thing, it is your modulating signal. This is a modulating signal, and this output is amplitude modulated output. It means the modulating signal is mixed with the carrier. Now in case of this LVDT, what could be the carrier signal? Anyone? Yes, anyone? What could be the carrier signal? આપણે આ સેમ વસ્તુની વાત કરીએ તો મોડ્યુલેટિંગ એટલે આપણે એમ વાત કરી કે જે આ સિગ્નલ છે, આ સિગ્નલ શું છે? This is a core movement. This is a core movement. જે LVDT ની કોર છે એની જે મૂવમેન્ટ થાય છે that is your information અથવા તો મોડ્યુલેટિંગ સિગ્નલ છે. આ તમારું આઉટપુટ છે that is the amplitude modulated output. તો આની અંદર જે આ કેરિયર સિગ્નલ છે, જેમ આમાં કેરિયર સિગ્નલ અહીંયા વચ્ચે આવી ગયું છે, તો એવી જ રીતે આમાં જે કેરિયર સિગ્નલ છે એ કેરિયર સિગ્નલ LVDT ના કેસમાં કયું હશે? Yes, it's very easy.
Sir, other part of frequency, that is a carrier.
કઈ other part means which part?
That's shown by darken area.
But that is what I am saying. That darken area shows some frequency. In case
Yes.
of LVDT, what that frequency is? આ frequency કઈ છે એમ? That frequency is your FE. FE વિશે કોઈકને પૂછીએ બરા. અજય રાજુરકર, what is that FE? યશ પ્રજાપતિ. યશ પ્રજાપતિ. રવિરંજન શર્મા. ધવલ નદિયાપરા. દર્શન સાપરિયા.
યસ સર.
આપણે આમાં 10-12 એટેન્ડન્સ આમાં છે, બરોબર? 12 માંથી 5 જણાને તો આપણે પૂછ્યું, એનો કોઈ જવાબ તો આવ્યો નહીં. દર્શન બોલ્યો એક, 3 દર્શન છે, એમાંથી 2-3 દર્શન, એક રજત, બાકી કોઈ બોલતા હોતા નથી. FE નો મતલબ શું થાય આમાં? FE જે કીધું છે
Frequency error.
ફ્રીક્વન્સી એરર કોણે કીધું? અજયે બોલો.
Frequency of excitation.
ઓકે, વેરી ગુડ સાવલિયા. અજય છેલ્લે જાગ્યો. થોડું છે ને ધ્યાન રાખો. આખું સેમેસ્ટર આપણે આવી જ રીતે ચાલવાનું છે, બરોબર. થોડું આમાં મને ખબર છે ભણવું અઘરું પડે આવી રીતે, પણ શક્ય હોય ત્યાં સુધી લેક્ચરમાં આવો તો થોડું ધ્યાન રાખો, જેટલો સમય ધ્યાન રાખી શકે એટલો. ઇટ ઇઝ અ ફ્રીક્વન્સી ઓફ એક્સાઇટેશન, બરોબર. એક્સાઇટેશન ફ્રીક્વન્સી છે. તો આ જ વસ્તુ અહીંયા આપણે લખીએ સેમ વસ્તુ, તો આપણે શું કહી શકીએ કે ઓકે, સો ધીસ ઇઝ યોર કોર ફ્રીક્વન્સી એફસી, આપણે અહીંયા નામ આપીએ. This is your excitation frequency FE, and this is a combination of FC plus FE. આવું છે, કોર વત્તા એક્સાઇટેશન ફ્રીક્વન્સી આ બે કમ્બાઈન થાય ત્યારે કંઈક આવું વેવફોર્મ બને. So this is a combination of FC plus FE. So while discussing this we have listed two problems. કોઈ કહી શકશે કયા કયા બે પ્રોબ્લેમ હતા? We have listed two problems here.
Yes, sir. We
Yes.
have one problem is as a different input we get same output.
Yes, very correct. એક પ્રોબ્લેમ એવો હતો કે ભલે ઇનપુટ બંને અલગ અલગ છે, ઇનપુટની એક કોર મુવમેન્ટ આવી રીતે છે અને એક કોર મુવમેન્ટ આવી રીતે છે. આ બંને કોર મુવમેન્ટ અલગ અલગ ટાઈપની છે, છતાં તમે આઉટપુટ તમે જોશો તો બંને ઓલમોસ્ટ સરખા આવે છે. ક્લિયર? હવે એ જ વસ્તુને અહીંયા સરખાવો. જો હવે આ સિગ્નલ આવી રીતે થાય છે, હવે આના બદલે ધારો કે સિગ્નલ આ રીતે હોય, સી ધીસ, ઇફ ધ સિગ્નલ ઇઝ લાઈક ધીસ, આને ભૂલી જાઓ રેડ કલરને, જસ્ટ રિમેમ્બર ધ બ્લુ પાર્ટ. ઇન ધેટ કેસ ઓલ્સો યોર આઉટપુટ વિલ લુક લાઈક ધીસ ઓનલી, બરાબર. આઉટપુટ વિલ લુક લાઈક ધીસ ઓનલી બીકોઝ ઇટ હેઝ અ ટુ સાઇડ બેન્ડ. આને કહેવાય ડબલ સાઇડ બેન્ડ આઉટપુટ. ઇટ મીન્સ તમારું જે કેરિયર હોય એફસી, ધીસ ઇઝ કોલ્ડ કેરિયર. કેરિયરની બંને સાઈડમાં અપ અને ડાઉન એટલે પોઝિટિવ અને નેગેટિવ બંને સાઈડમાં તમને એફએમ મળે છે. ધીસ કોલ એફએમ, એફસી પ્લસ એફએમ, એફસી માઇનસ એફએમ. એટલે જો એફસી ની પોઝિટિવ સાઈડમાં પણ અને એફસી ની નેગેટિવ સાઈડમાં પણ. સો વેધર યોર ઇનપુટ ઇઝ લાઈક ધીસ રેડ કલર ઓર વેધર યોર ઇનપુટ ઇઝ લાઈક ધીસ બ્લુ કલર, યોર આઉટપુટ વિલ ઓલવેઝ રિમેન this. It means in both the condition it is not possible to distinguish whether your core movement is like this or like this. That is the first problem, means your output is same in both the cases. Second problem, પારસ. હા દર્શન.
ઓરિજિનલ સાથે સાથે બીજા વેવ પણ મળે છે વધારાના એક્સ્ટ્રા.
યસ, વેરી કરેક્ટ. સાચી વાત છે દર્શ. અહીંયા આપણી પાસે બે છે, આપણે જેમ વાત કરી અહીંયા આપણે કુરિયરનું એક્ઝામ્પલ લીધું, એમાં કીધું શું કે ભાઈ કુરિયરને લઈ જવાનો છે, કુરિયર ત્યાં પાર્સલ આપીને એ પાર્સલની સાથે જે તે ડેસ્ટિનેશન ઉપર રહેશે નહીં, પણ જ્યાં સુધી પહોંચશે ત્યાં સુધી તો કુરિયર બોય અને પાર્સલ બંને સાથે હશે. ત્યાં જશે એટલે શું કરવાનું, જે રિસીવિંગ એન્ડ ઉપર જે તે વ્યક્તિએ કુરિયર બોય પાસેથી પાર્સલ લઈ લેવાનું અને કુરિયર બોયને પાછું મોકલી દેવાનું. સો એવું જ કામ અહીંયા કરવાનું છે કે રિસીવિંગ એન્ડ ઉપર યુ હેવ ટુ થિંગ. One is your information, that is your core frequency FC, and second is your excitation frequency. આ બંનેનું મિક્સિંગ છે, બરાબર. એટલે તમારે એક્સાઇટેશન ફ્રીક્વન્સીની કાંઈ જરૂર છે નહીં. દેટ ઇઝ નન ઓફ અવર યુઝ. વી આર ઇન્ટરેસ્ટેડ ઇન ધ કોર મુવમેન્ટ, કારણ કે આપણું જે ટાસ્ક છે દેટ ઇઝ ડિસ્પ્લેસમેન્ટ મેઝરમેન્ટ. એન્ડ ઇફ યુ વોન્ટ ટુ મેઝર ધી ડિસ્પ્લેસમેન્ટ, ઇટ મીન્સ વી આર ટોકિંગ અબાઉટ ધી ડિસ્પ્લેસમેન્ટ ઓફ ધી કોર, જે કોરની ડિસ્પ્લેસમેન્ટ થાય છે. So we have to concentrate on that particular part only, while excitation frequency or the carrier frequency has to be removed. So second thing છે information mixed with carrier, બરાબર. carrier અથવા તો excitation frequency.
Sir,
Now in
can
order
we
to
say it's a
Yes.
noise?
no, it's not
Sir,
a noise. Yes,
okay,
please.
sir.
See, noise.
Okay, sir.
Noise means whenever your signal, see it is a your modulating signal. This is how it looks like. But suddenly if you are getting something which is like this, you can see here this particular part. Noise
Yes, sir.
generally affects on your modulating
Core
signal
frequency.
itself. Whenever you
Okay,
mix
sir.
your modulating signal with the carrier, at that time generally with respect to AM FM has a excellent noise immunity. External noise એની અંદર ઇફેક્ટ કરશે જ નહીં FM માં, અને ટ્રાન્સમિશન પણ લોંગ
Okay, sir.
ડિસ્ટન્સ થઈ શકે છે. AM ની નોઇસ ઇમ્યુનિટી FM કરતા ઓછી છે, but this is not a noise. Clear? This is one of the
Okay,
way
sir.
by which you can transmit your signal to a longer distance, and that's why you are superimposing. આપણે એમ વાત કરી કે કુરિયર
sir.
બોયને પાર્સલ આપવાનું છે. હવે પહેલો રસ્તો શું છે કે પહેલો રસ્તો તો એવું છે કે પાર્સલને તમે એમ કહો કે જાતે જતું રહે. ઇટ્સ નોટ પોસિબલ બીકોઝ ઇટ ઇઝ અ નોન લિવિંગ થિંગ. સેકન્ડ થિંગ ઇઝ તમે
Yes, sir.
જાતે પાર્સલ લઈને ચાલતા 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 તમે બોમ્બે જાઓ. તમારું કામ પાર્સલ મોકલવાનું છે. તમે ચાલતા ચાલતા જાઓ, પછી તમે પોતાની ગાડીમાં મૂકીને જાઓ, પછી તમે કોઈ પ્લેનમાં જાઓ, ટ્રેનમાં જાઓ, કોઈ પણ મીડિયમ દ્વારા જાઓ. તમારું કામ છે તમારે એને પહોંચાડવાનું છે પાર્સલને. તમે કોઈ પણ મીડિયમ વાપરો. હવે મીડિયમ ઇઝ નોટ મીડિયમ ઇઝ રિક્વાયર્ડ અનલેસ યુ યુઝ ધ મીડિયમ યુ કેન નોટ ટ્રાન્સમિટ ઇટ. તમે ઓબ્જેક્ટ એક જગ્યાએ રાખીને એમ
Yes,
કહો
sir.
કે તું બોમ્બે જતો રહે, ઇટ્સ નોટ પોસિબલ. So
Yes, sir.
carrier is necessary for the purpose of transmission. So we have two
Okay,
problems.
sir.
One is this and second is this. Now let's see how we can solve these two problems while using a signal conditioning circuit. હવે અહીંયા આપણે જોઈએ. So this is our original thing. આપણે જે ગઈકાલ last lecture last slide માં જોયું 1 and 2. These are the two moments. Whenever these two moments are given to the core of the LVDT, these are the two outputs which we are getting. Outputs are same. So first, even if the outputs are same, we have to find out a way which can distinguish between whether the moment is positive or whether it is negative. So for that, we will use a circuit called PSD, that is called phase sensitive detector. Clear? Phase sensitive. અહીંયા જો આ phase કયો છે? This is a positive phase and this is a negative phase. So you have to find out how can you distinguish. If you use a phase sensitive detector, then it can distinguish whether your phase is positive or whether it is negative. So first solution is this. Use a PSD. તો અહીંયા જો this. Now see here. આમાંથી આ જે પાર્ટ હતો એ નીકળી ગયો, this part and this part. This output is quite similar to this. This is your
Yes,
original
sir.
output and this output. See, both the outputs are almost same. Again on the second side, again it will remove this particular part and this particular part. So again see this output. It is quite similar to your original. Now the second thing is, even if you are getting these two outputs, but still this output contains some extraneous information other than your original information. તો એમાં શું છે? આ વચ્ચેનો ભાગ જે ડાર્ક બતાવ્યો છે, that is your carrier frequency, or in our case it is a excitation frequency. Now while discussing the LVDT characteristic, આપણે એવું કીધું કે excitation frequency FE has to be 10 times than that of maximum core frequency. આપણે આવું કીધું FC max. એટલે કોર ની મેક્સિમમ ફ્રીક્વન્સી. કોર શું છે? એક તમે જે રોડ છે LVDT માં રાખેલો, that rod is moving. Now the movement of the rod is not fixed. Sometimes say it may move once in a 60 minute or it may move once in a 10 second. Clear? Depending on that, you have to find out the frequency at which the rod is moving. Sometime it may happen that the rod will move say by 1 mm at a rate of say 10 kilohertz. It may happen. But sometime that rod may move by 10 mm at a rate of say 1 hertz. આખી એ રોડની જે મૂવમેન્ટ છે, that rod, the movement of that rod depends upon the movement of your actual system where you are performing the measurement. જે આપણે measurement કરીએ છીએ ત્યાં કેટલી મૂવમેન્ટ થાય છે એના ઉપર ડિપેન્ડ છે. ઘણી વખત એ રોડની મૂવમેન્ટ 1 કલાકમાં પણ થતી હોય, ઘણી વખત 1 સેકન્ડમાં થતી હોય. So based on that, you have to find out the maximum possible core frequency or maximum possible rod frequency. A rod કેટલી frequency move થવાનો છે, that you have to find. And accordingly, you have to choose your FE. હવે એને શું કીધું? FE has to be greater than 10 times FC max. હવે તમારે differentiate કરવું છે. This FE and FC, આ બંને વચ્ચે differentiate કરવું છે. It means this particular equation says that FE is higher than FC max. આના કરતા વધારે છે. It means you have to find out a frequency selective signal conditioning circuit. ફ્રીક્વન્સીના બેઝ ઉપર કંઈક સિલેક્શન થતું હોય એવી કોઈ સિગ્નલ કન્ડિશનિંગ સર્કિટ. સો દેટ ઇઝ none other than filter. Filter is a frequency selective circuit. એમાં લો પાસ આવે, હાઈ પાસ આવે, બેન્ડ પાસ આવે, બેન્ડ રિજેક્ટ આવે, નેરો બેન્ડ રિજેક્ટ આવે, વાઇડ બેન્ડ રિજેક્ટ, ઓલ પાસ, અલગ અલગ ટાઈપ છે. What we are interested in is we need a filter which can allow a low frequency to pass. આ frequency low છે, as with respect to this is a high frequency. We want that low frequency should pass and high frequency should be stopped by the circuit. So it means we have to find a circuit which passes the low frequency while rejecting or stopping the high frequency. So the only circuit which can do this particular task is a low pass filter. Clear? So once you pass these two outputs through the low pass filter, see what you are getting. These two are quite similar to your core movement. તમારી information જે હતી, આ information છે, અહીંયા તમે information પાછી મળી જાય છે. This is very very important, this for understanding how this particular એમને ડ્રો કરશું તો એ ખ્યાલ આવી જશે, પણ આખી થિયરી ખબર હશે તો ખબર પડશે કે why they put this PSD, why they put this LPF, what is the necessity. Clear? Okay. So simply if we correlate with this amplitude modulation term, then we can say that this particular part, this is called modulating part or a modulation portion. And this particular portion is called demodulator. This is called modulator. So here you can see you are mixing your information with the excitation frequency of LVDT, and what you are getting is amplitude modulated output. This is the part in which you are again you are getting your original signal back. So this is a step in which you are differentiating your input and the carrier frequency, that is your excitation frequency. So this portion is called modulating signal, in which again you are getting your original signal back. Clear? This is your modulation part, this is called demodulation part. So that is all about LVDT. Before going ahead, let's see the advantages and limitations of LVDT. Quite acceptable linearity up to say 5 mm. Here we are having the stepless output, hence we are expecting a good resolution. Anyone wants to say anything about what is this stepless output? What do you mean by this stepless output?
It's a linear output.
It's a linear output, yes.
Yes, sir. Without step.
Yes, in one of the lecture we have seen, whenever we say stepwise output, means the output is like this, stepwise.
Yes, sir.
And whenever see stepless, means it is like this. It is a linear. Here you can see that this step indicates that unless your input changes by this much value, your output is not going to change. Input changes by this much value, output will not change. Input changes by this much value, output will not change. So it means with LVDT, you are getting a stepless output, means you are achieving a higher resolution. The resolution of this particular arrangement is less, while in this case it is maximum, because for each and every individual point you have a change in the output. But here, unless input changes by this much value, your output is not going to change. So the resolution of poor in case of stepwise output, but in case of stepless output, you are expecting the higher resolution. With this, you are getting high output. So generally the transducers are followed by some signal conditioning circuits, and ultimately it goes to some indicator or a recording device, or sometime it may be used to drive some other equipment or some other instrument. So while you are driving some other instrument, you need to put certain extra circuitries in between. Those extra circuitries might include some kind of amplification. If you are using an LVDT, then in that case, as if you are getting a higher output, then that's why you do not require any intermediate amplification. With LVDT, you are expecting a high sensitivity. The response time is very short. The arrangement is very solid and robust in nature. And LVDT is relatively low cost. Disadvantages: with LVDT, you are having a larger threshold. Threshold means unless you give that much of movement from the input side, you cannot expect any change in the output. So there is a relatively large threshold. As if we are using electromagnetic property of the LVDT for getting the moment of the core on the output side. That's why it is affected by the stray electromagnetic field. Stray means something which is non-obvious, or which is not generated by your electromagnet. Primary, which is excited by the say some external signal, it means it is a kind of electromagnet. So other than your LVDT, if there is any other circuit which also generates the electromagnetic waves, then that field may affect your entire resolution or the system. In that case, you have to put the magnetic shielding. You have to put the magnetic shielding. Third thing is, as you are having a AC output, it generates a kind of noise. And in case of LVDT, sensitivity depends on the temperature. So as sensitivity, as the temperature increasing, surrounding temperature increases, the sensitivity of the LVDT will reduce. So these are some of the points which you have to consider while using LVDT in your application. Now after LVDT, as in the previous lecture, while showing the first slide of the inductive transducer, I mentioned that we are going to study 3 different types of the inductive devices. First is LVDT, second is RVDT, and third is synchro. So let's see what is RVDT. RVDT is just like the LVDT, but the only difference is here L is replaced by R, and this R indicates the rotary. It is a rotary variable differential transformer. The basic principle, the characteristic, everything is same. The only difference is the construction. In case of LVDT, the core is generally moving in a translational fashion, while in case of this RVDT, the core is moving in a rotary way. That is the only difference. This is your EI, two secondaries, everything is same. The only difference is the movement. Here the movement which you are expecting is a rotary motion. Clear? So that is all our RVDT. Just quite similar to LVDT, but the construction wise it is different. Clear? Next thing is synchros. Now if you see this synchro, as the name indicates, something related with the synchronization. Clear? As the name indicates, it has something to do with synchronization. So what it is, let's see. This is the primary side which is supplied with the slip rings. Then it goes to this arrangement. This is a rotor which has a single phase winding. While on the output, on the other side, you have a stator which has a 3-phase winding, which is displaced from each other by 120 degree. Clear? There are 3-phase winding on the stator side, and all the 3 windings are displaced from each other by 120 degrees. So in this case, suppose if this is your first stepping, this is the second one, and this is the third one. And if you measure a voltage between say 1 and 2, then here you can see it is a A sin omega t. A sin omega t is nothing but it is your V input. Here whatever V input you are giving, it is A sin omega t. This is your input. So this output which you are getting between 1 and 2, it is E12, which is nothing but V in cos theta. The output which you are getting between 2 and 3, between 1 and 3, that is V in cos theta plus 120, as if the windings are displaced from each other by 120 degree. That's why your output is V in cos theta plus 120. If you measure the output between terminal number 2 and 3, then your output is V in cos theta plus 240. This is what the construction of or the schematic diagram of the synchro shows. This is the actual picture of synchro. So what is a synchro? Synchro is an electromechanical device where variation of reluctance. Can anyone tell me what is reluctance?
Sir, don't know.
Reluctance.
Sir,
Yes.
opposing, sir, it's I'm not know like it's correct or not. Opposing the magnetic flux of.
Yes, it's very correct.
Okay, okay.
It's absolutely correct. It's just like the resistance in case of electrical circuit. Clear? Just like the resistance in case of electrical circuit, where resistance opposes the flow of current, likewise the reluctance opposes the magnetic circuit. Clear? Reluctance is quite similar to the resistance. So let's see what it says. Electromechanical device which works on the principle of variation of reluctance. So it means whenever the reluctance is high, just like if the resistance is more, it means it opposes the flow of current. Likewise, if the reluctance is more, then it opposes the connection between the two sides. It is like that. On one side you have a primary, on the other side you have a secondary. It's like that only. And whenever the reluctance between the two sides is less, it means the magnetic circuit is almost closed. And whenever the reluctance is maximum, at that time the magnetic circuit is seems to be open. So if you see this, air has got the highest reluctance. So you need to find out you need to use a certain material which has a low reluctance. The primary purpose of this particular thing is to measure the angle. Synchros are generally used as a for the purpose of angular measurement. What it consists? It consists of wound rotor and wound stator. Wound means coil is wound over the former. Motion of rotor produces a variable mutual inductance between the two windings. Rotor is laminated. It is a single phase winding and which is connected to the supply, as we have seen in the construction. While stator winding is a three phase and each of them is displaced from each other in a 120-degree space. Now by looking at this construction, how construction ક્યારે જોયું છે કોઈ કહી શકશે? Have you seen this type of construction ever?
મોટરમાં.
Yes. મોટરમાં જોયું હશે, પણ મોટરમાં આમાં શું અલગ છે થોડું કહી શકશો? સાચું છે, મોટરમાં જોવે, પણ વસ્તુ શું છે જુઓ, મોટરમાં શું હોય, તમે સ્ટેટરને સપ્લાય આપો છો, you are giving supply to the stator and rotor is moving. Clear? This is the thing. Based on the alternating supply which you are giving on the stator side, the rotor is keep moving. Rotor move thai. And in this case, you are giving supply to the rotor, and you are hoping some output will be generated from the stator side. So it is quite opposite of motor. એને શું કહેવાય?
Generator.
Yes, it's very correct. બરાબર. The construction of the synchro is just like the generator. મોટરનું construction છે એના કરતા generator થોડું ઓપોઝ કામ કરે છે. હવે જુઓ, હવે let's see how it works. This is your input side. You are giving a supply. આપણે વાત કરી, it is a A sin omega t. Sinusoidal signal having some definite amplitude and a frequency that you are giving on the input side. Now this rotor, this is a rotor. Based on the position of the rotor, whenever rotor acquires certain position. Now this position of the rotor is generally defined in terms of theta. This is a theta. Now what is this theta? This theta is the angular position of rotor. This is the angular position of rotor. In our case, we are interested in the displacement. આપણે વાત કરી, we are talking about displacement transducer. It means this particular rotor has to be connected to the system where we want to perform the measurement. બરાબર? આપણે જ્યાં measurement કરવાનું છે ત્યાં તમારે આ rotor ને એની સાથે આ connect કરેલું હોવું જોઈએ. So whenever that particular system moves by a certain angle, similarly the rotor of this arrangement will also move. Now based on the position of the rotor, the amount of linkage between the primary or between the rotor and the stator side will change. Now હવે કઈ રીતે linkage બદલાશે? That linkage depends upon the position of the rotor. It depends upon the position of the rotor. If the rotor, say if the theta is 0, in this case if the theta is 0, then see what output you are getting. If this theta is 0, then cos theta is cos 0 is 1. Then E12 is your A sin omega t only. In that case, if I'll take theta is equal to 0, then what I'm getting is cos theta plus 120. So cos 90 plus 30. What is cos 30? Cos 30 કેટલું આવે? Cos 30? Yes.
Root 3 by 2.
Yes, it is root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 means how much?
75 degree.
Somewhere around 0.86. It is 0.86. Now in the same case, what is E23? A sin omega t cos theta plus 240. What is cos 240? Is somewhere around 0.33. Now see the position. હવે આપણે when theta is 0, our term as it is say A sin omega t, A sin omega t, A sin omega t. While the second term here it is 1. 1 means it is the maximum value. Here it is 0.86 means lesser than 1. Here it is 0.333. It is again lesser than 0.86. It means whenever theta is 0, the rotor has acquired such a position in which the maximum linkage you are expecting between 1 and 2 or E12. Clear? It means that is the position in which you are having a lowest reluctance. જ્યારે rotor theta is equal to 0 એટલે એકદમ a straight position માં આવી જાય like this. I'll just clear everything. Whenever rotor is over here like this, આ રીતે place કરેલું હશે. This is the position in which what you are getting is you are getting a minimum reluctance between E12. 1 and 2 વચ્ચે minimum reluctance મળે છે. It means the conduction is maximum. Reluctance is the opposite of conductance. So it means while there is a lowest reluctance, it means you are getting the maximum conductance. So E12 is maximum, E13 is little bit lesser than that, and E23 is little bit more lesser than that. Clear? So based on the position of the rotor, you are getting some output between all the three stator winding terminal. Now, as I have already explained that this output depends upon this particular angle, that is the theta. It means somehow from by looking at these three outputs, you can comment on the angular displacement of the rotor. આ એનો basic principle છે. રોટરનું જેટલા એંગલથી મૂવમેન્ટ થશે એટલા એંગલ સોરી એ મૂવમેન્ટના બેઝ ઉપર તમારા 3 આઉટપુટ વોલ્ટેજ ડિસાઇડ થશે E12 E13 અને E23. ઇટ મીન્સ તમે જો આઉટપુટ ફાઇન્ડ કરી શકો તો આઉટપુટ ઉપરથી યુ કેન કમેન્ટ ઓન ધી એંગલ ઓફ રોટેશન. That is the basic principle on which synchros generally works. Okay, let's see little bit more about synchros. Synchros are mostly used to compare the angular position. It means synchros are never used alone. Mostly they are used in a pair. Synchro generally એકલું ના વપરાય. આપણે મેં તમને જેમ એક synchro નું construction બતાવ્યું, but generally synchros are used in a pair. It is called synchro trans receiver pair. So synchros generally used to compare the angular position of a load with its commanded position. It means તમે એમ કીધું કે I want that on the output side the rotor should move by say an angle of 30 degree. Then I am putting another synchro on the input side, which ensures that the output side synchro or the output will move by the 30 degree only. જો 30 ડિગ્રી થી ઓછું અથવા વધારે હશે તો એ જે ઇનપુટ સાઇડ નો સિંક્રો હશે એને ફરી પાછો એને એક્ઝેક્ટ 30 ડિગ્રી સુધી મૂવ કરાવશે of a load with its commanded position and to generate an appropriate feedback such that deviation is corrected automatically. 30 ડિગ્રી મૂવ કરવાનું કીધું છે આઉટપુટ સાઇડમાં, પણ 30 થી થોડું વધારે થઈ જાય અથવા ઓછું થઈ જાય તો ઇનપુટ સાઇડનો જે સિંક્રો હશે એ આઉટપુટ સાઇડના સિંક્રોને ગમે તેમ કરીને 30 ડિગ્રી સુધી લાવી દેશે. That is the entire synchro transmitter receiver pair function, and this particular mechanism is known as a servo mechanism. This automatic motion control feedback mechanism is known as a servo mechanism. Automatic motion control, you are controlling the motion of rotor, and that motion is controlled by a feedback mechanism, and the entire task is performed automatically. These are the 3 most important property of any servo mechanism. So here 2 synchros are used in conjunction, and this is how the synchro trans receiver pair looks like. Clear? Here you can see this is called transmitter and this is called receiver. Okay, we will continue our discussion with this. Actually we are at the 4:45. આજે છે લાસ્ટ માં લેક્ચર છે મારા પછી કોઈનો?
No sir, no sir.
No sir. Okay, so I'll just take a 5 minutes. એક આ સમજાવી દઉં પછી આપણે પૂરું કરીએ. So what it says, you have a transmitter over here, you have a receiver on the output side. Now see this distance, અહીંયા આપણે ડાયરેક્ટ બતાવ્યું છે, but that distance say maybe in terms of 10 meter or 100 meter, that depends. But here આપણે અહીંયા ડાયરેક્ટ બતાવ્યું છે. So this is your input side, this is your output side or the load side. This is called command side. This is your command side and this is your load side. Clear? This is a load side. Now what it says, what happens in this case, let's see. Now see the construction, how they are connected. This is a line voltage, this is a rotor of the transmitter, this is a rotor of receiver. Now rotor of transmitter and receiver both are connected by the line voltage. A same voltage અહીંયા પણ જશે અને એ જ voltage, you can see the same voltage goes to the rotor of receiver as well. Now the stator voltages of this transmitter is directly connected to the stator voltages of receiver. અહીંયા જુઓ તમે, here you can see this directly goes to this directly goes to this, and this directly goes to this. Direct connection, just stator na direct connection, rotor na direct connection. Now let's see how it works. Now this is what this says. Based on the position of the rotor, you are getting certain output on the stator side, 1, 2 and 3 types of the output. Clear? So this is like based on the rotor, you are getting some stator outputs. So R2S simply. On the other side, on the receiver side, based on the stator voltage, you are getting the position of rotor. It is also true, આપણે જેમ વાત કરી કે મોટર અને જનરેટર, એક કદાચ તમે ફેસબુકમાં વિડીયો આવ્યો હતો કોઈ કે અથવા તમે ક્યારેક સાંભળ્યું હશે કે એક બાજુ તમે જે મોટર છે એના સ્ટેટરમાં તમે ઇનપુટ આપો એટલે રોટર ફરવા માંડે છે, અને જો તમે રોટરને ફેરવવા માંડો તો શું સ્ટેટરમાં વોલ્ટેજ જનરેટ થશે? ઇટ ઇઝ અ ઓપોઝિટ થિંગ વિચ વી આર જનરલી ડુઈંગ ઇન જનરેટર. આપણે જનરેટરમાં એવું જ કરીએ છીએ, રોટર ફેરવીએ એટલે સ્ટેટરમાં વોલ્ટેજ આવે અને સ્ટેટરને એક્સાઇટેશન આપો તો રોટર મૂવ થાય. Here we are doing the same thing. On the primary side or on the transmitter side, based on the position of the rotor, we are getting a voltages on the stator. Clear? Then on the secondary or on the receiver side, with the same stator voltage, you are getting the position of rotor. Clear? So અહીંયા જે સ્ટેટરના વોલ્ટેજ છે V minus V/2 અને V/2, એના મદદથી you are achieving a position of rotor. So what it says, suppose if I am moving the stator by 30 degree, આ રોટરને 30 ડિગ્રીથી મૂવ કર્યું on the transmitter side. Due to this movement, I am getting say this voltage √3/2, આપણે cos 30 cos 120 plus 30 cos 240 plus 30 એ બધા ઇક્વેશનમાં વેલ્યુ મૂકશું, then we will get this. On one second side we are getting 0, on the third side we are getting minus √3/2. It means by moving the stator by 30 degree, you are getting 3 different stator voltages, and if I'll give the same voltages on the receiver side, then can I get the same rotor motion? Clear? The angular displacement of the rotor by 30 degree produces a stator voltage of √3/2, 0 and minus √3/2. Then on the other hand, by giving the same stator voltages on the receiver side, can I get the same angular displacement of the rotor? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it is possible. Clear? This is how the synchros work. This is called, now suppose if I want to achieve 30 degree, suppose if it becomes 31, what happens? It means there is a difference. That difference generally given as a feedback to the rotor. A rotor na feedback ma jase. It means somehow if it becomes 31 or if it becomes 29, then this difference in this particular thing will work as a feedback, which continuously tunes both the synchros in such a way that unless it acquires the 30 degree, it keeps on giving the feedback. જ્યાં સુધી 30 ડિગ્રીનું થશે નહીં ત્યાં સુધી, ધારો કે આમાં કોઈ ડિફરન્સ આવશે તો ડિફરન્સ હશે એ પાછો the same difference will appear on the stators of receiver side. Unless the rotor acquires 30 degree, it keeps on giving the same feedback to the receiver end. Clear? This is how the synchro trans receiver pair will work. So today we are ending here, and we will continue our discussion with this in the next class. If you have any query or confusion, you can post your queries or you can ask your queries anytime on our portal. Yeah, and in the lab section, I have already put one LVDT virtual lab. આજે જેની લેબ હતી એમાં મેં વર્ચ્યુઅલ લેબ LVDT મૂક્યું છે. જ્યારે લેબ આવશે એમાં એ વર્ચ્યુઅલ લેબનું સિમ્યુલેશન છે. You just try to simulate by yourself. Thank you all.